All right, how's it going, beloveds, everybody? This is D. Almond, this Coach D, and I want to share with you just updates on my progress. I've made some pretty significant progress with my blood pressure, my weight, and everything, and I want to show y'all the stats today, just in the month of September, really from September 17th till now. So I'm going to show y'all my stats real quick. We get right into it. Try to make this video as short as possible. All right. So see, we look here. So what we're looking at now is my my readout from my body composition scan this morning. All right. And the device you see up there in the corner, that's the device I use to do my body scan. So I perform this on myself. And, I'll take my weight and everything. So if we look here, yes, you're looking at my government name, which, and that's fine too. If you want to call me that, I'll still go by that as well. So here you can see here today's date and my height, 5'9", and that's in inches, by the way. Okay. So here's my current weight. I'm at 204.8 pounds. We're going to get to what I started out as. And actually, you're not going to really see what I actually started out. I actually started out at about close to 220 pounds. Okay, but by the time I started taking measurements of myself, recording them, I had already lost 5 pounds. So you're going to see it from that point. So I'm at morning, weighed in at 204.8 pounds. And so you'll get to see all the weight loss here. And so as you can see, this marker here, this is my body fat percentage, and I'm here in the fit range for my age. All right, it was close to this high point, but it's now down to the fit range, and I'm at 16.3% body fat. Okay, it's still high for me, but it's okay. And so there's no excess fat. As you can see, this excess fat, there's no excess fat on me. It's all essential fat. And so I'm actually working on getting that essential fat percentage down. And so what they call healthy fat as well. And at this point, it's 33 pounds of making up 33 pounds of my overall weight, which is 204, right? So 33 pounds, 33.3 pounds is coming from healthy fat. And 22% of my weight is coming from lean mass, and this is my muscles, organs, and bones. All right, and that's at 46.3 pounds. Okay, 46.3 pounds of that 204.8 pounds. All right, is coming from muscle, bones, and organs. And then I got at 61% of my weight. I'm at water. It's my water at 125.2 pounds. So if you know, as you can see, water makes up most of your body. Okay, and where we want to be, I'm still a little bit less than I want to be, but I'm still better than what I was. I was in a 50-something percentage of my water. So this is an indication of how hydrated you are. So I've been really working on my hydration and has brought that up. So I'm glad it's up to 125 pounds. But for men, you want this to be about 65%. You want this to be about 65%. Ladies, 60% or up. Okay, not too much. You won't be too hydrated, but you want to be ladies about 60%. Men, you want to be between 60 to 65%. Of your weight coming from water. All right. So I still want to get. Actually, I want to get up to about 65%. So I'm still working on that, and my body's working that out. Okay, it's cycling water real good. Okay, so that's the body fat percentage. Now let's look down to here at my BMI, body mass index. This is also a health indicator for some cases, but here I'm at 30.2. So this is a ratio. This comes from a ratio between your height and your weight. So in other words, I'm overweight for my height. Okay, so that's why I get this number right here, 30.2. But since most of my weight, I don't have a high body fat percentage, so that makes this null and void, because at this number, as you can see, I'm grade 1 obese. Okay, grade 1 obese. Now, if my body composition wasn't what it is, then you got somebody my height being 204 pounds, and they don't have as much muscle mass as I have, and that means they're going to have a higher body fat percentage. And the body fat percentage in my industry, when you have, for men who have a body fat percentage over 30%, 32%, we tend to, actually it's less than that. When we get over 25%, you're considered to be over fat, and then you get over 30%, and then you get this grade 1 obesity thing in your body fat percentage, in your body composition. This is as far as BMI goes, they rate me at a at a grade 1 obesity. All right. So if you want to find out yours, here is the formula for it right here. So if you're good at math, or just do one of these. And so my BMR, my basal metabolic rate, which is the rate at which my body burns calories at rest. That means I can sit on the couch all day, and this number is the number of calories my body will still burn, and it will still need just to sustain life for me, for everything to work. I still need this basic amount of calories. And right now for me, that's at 2,050 calories. And that's what my body will burn at this point. And now this is up. So my metabolic rate has changed even since the 17th, because even at that time, it was 1,999 was my BMR. Now I'm at 2,050 calories. So my body burns more calories. And this only happens when you increase your exercise and things like that. And this device can actually tell all of that. All right. So this will happen. And that's also if you gain weight. If you gain weight, because the more weight that you have, the more calories your body is going to need to burn in order to move you around. But your basal metabolic rate here, and for me, since I'm actually losing weight, but my basal metabolic rate is increasing, this is because of my activity level. So based on my activity level, which is, I put it at a medium, my total, this stands for total energy expenditure. So my total energy expenditure, meaning the energy that I spend with my lifestyle, movement, and so forth throughout the day, is 2,576 calories. All right. So these calories are the calories that if I take in this many calories, my weight doesn't move. My weight doesn't move. It stays the same. This is my maintenance calorie, basically what I need to take in every single day to satisfy my lifestyle, basically. But being that I want to lose weight, I'm going to have to have my calorie intake, my caloric intake, closer to my basal metabolic rate. So my body has to dig into my stored fat to get this extra 576 calories. I rather that it gets, and that's a good number for my body to give up, a day. So you don't want to be too far over 500 calories. So we're only talking about anywhere from 1 to 3 pounds. I'm sorry, 1 to 2 pounds a week. So if I stayed at a 500 calorie deficit, in other words, meaning that when you're at a deficit, that's the calories that your body's got to burn from stored fat instead of calories coming from food. And we do that also. So that's why we reduce calories in our food, in our meals. And we also exercise, take on more activity so we can create even more caloric deficit. And that's what it does. So it's not It doesn't mean that you have to stay 500 calories down on your meals. So if you want to lessen your meals, like if you want to take in like this 2576, you take that, then you can, half of it you can take off your meals, and the other half you can burn during exercise, and you'll still have a 576 calorie deficit for that day, and it will still equate after 7 days to a 1 pound body fat loss. Like you would have lost a pound of fat. Okay, it's not going to always reflect on the scale, and I'll show you why in just a second. All right, but just know that that's what it is. All right, so that's that. So I have an increased metabolism because of the work that I've been doing over the last less than 10 days. You'll get to see less than 10 days now, and I've increased my metabolism, and now everything is changing. So I really feel good. So now my relative disease risk. So for heart disease, no risk at all. I'm at a 1 down here. For stroke, I'm also at a risk, very, very minimal risk. I'm not worried at all. And for diabetes, no risk at all. All right, so very low risk. All right, and this device is used by some nutritional clinics and so forth, and even at dietitian clinics and so forth. And me being that I am a nutritionist as well as a fitness professional, this, of course, I couldn't go with anything less than this. This is a great device, and it comes with this software also that gives you all this readout. Now, if we look at over right here from September 17th, 20th, and 26th, my weight, and now it's not, now this rounds up to the next whole number, but my weight here was 206.6 pounds, and right here is the same, 206.6 pounds, and then this is 204.8. So all it did here was just round up to the next whole number. So that's why it looked like that. But I did for a while get stuck at 206.6, which is cool with me, because my goal at first was to get under 210 pounds. Being that I started at about 219.6 pounds, and then I went down to 215.6, and then I dropped down to 206.6. So as you guys will see, but body fat percentage, it went from 19.5% on the 17th. Then when I measured again on the 20th, it dropped down to 19.4%, even though my weight was still the same. Okay, but I dropped a little bit in body fat percentage. And remember, when we're talking about a body fat percentage, this is the percentage of that new weight that I'm at. Okay, it's not the percentage of the same weight. So even though these were the same weight, I'm just saying, but when you lose weight, you can still have a higher body fat percentage. So that's the percentage of fat that's making up your total weight at that time. All right. But ideally, you'll see that the weight as well as the body fat percentage both are dropping simultaneously. And then today, September 26th, which is today, I'm at 16.3% body fat. Look at that. Okay, that's a whole 3% loss. Okay, it's a whole 3% loss, and that's huge, guys. And you'll see just how huge that is in just a second. So just to give you an idea of the work, so this is all in the same year. This is less than 10 days from the 17th to the 26th, right? So now let's look at, don't worry about the calorie, don't worry about that. It's just a little key. But my hip to shoulder, my waist to hip ratio, shoulder to waist, the numbers actually looked a little different than these, a little different, not too much. I mean, but it's just giving me an idea. I'm still fluctuating these same areas. They're changing a little bit because the inches on my shoulders getting a little bit wider. So that's one thing, but then also you'll see that my waist is also getting a little bit it's getting smaller as well. So my waist is going to affect here. This one, my shoulders and my hips didn't really change too much. And that's okay because of where it is. And that's not one of my problem areas. It's really the waist that's my problem area. And also, of course, my waist to height. So these two are what I'm really concerned with. These two, this data right here. So as my waist changes, then these also would be changing. So as you can see here, I'm still in the green amount. I'm in a good point. I'm in a good area in these areas here. Not too good. I'm not as good as I want to be, but I want to maintain in these areas here. As long as it's green, I'm good. So even over here, waist to hip ratio, I still got a little bit. So I'm in the yellow here. Okay, and I want to be down in it. And you can see this green is a very narrow band over here. All right. So now let's look at some stats, some side-by-side stats. And don't pay attention to these top, as you can see the dates over here. All we want to be concerned with is these dates down here. Okay? This is what I'm concerned with today. These are just, as you can see, was way back in 2020 in 2021, 2023 and so forth. We just gonna be concerned with 2024. All right? So 2024 again on the 17th of September, I was 206.6, and on the 20th, I was still 206.6, and now on the 26th, I'm 204.8. Now 204.8, and whereas before I was 219 when I first started this. I'm talking about before the fast, and this was I was 219.6. Even a week before I actually did my 3-day hard fast. Remember, I kicked in that 3-day hard fast after about almost 2 weeks of building up to it. So I cut my calories. I started reducing foods and stuff like that. I wasn't concerned with calories at that time. All I was concerned with was the quality of food I was eating. So I started cutting those, because that's when I started seeing the blood pressure issues at that time. So I started cutting everything, cut out meat, cut out caffeine, cut out processed foods, cut out dairy as well. I did all that, and gradually over that week, almost 2 weeks, so I could say a little bit more than a week and a half, I cut all of that out. Okay, and just with me cutting those things out, I had went from 219.6 down to 215.6. And then I did the fast. And then the fast, and that was, let's see, let me get my dates right here. Let me look at my calendar real quick. So, okay. So when I started that, let's see, the 16th, that's the 17th. Yeah. So when I started that, it was the 2nd. So September 2nd is when I started everything. That's that Monday I woke up, I was at 219.6 pounds on September 2nd. Okay, then I took, all the way to the 12th to prepare for the fast that I would start doing on the 13th. So really I started it Thursday night. So Thursday I had my last meal at 6:30 p.m. Okay, so then that kicked off my fast. That's why I did my first video saying that I was 24 hours in on the 13th, on that Friday. And so I was 24 hours in by 6:30 p.m. in Eastern time, by the way, on Friday, September 13th. Okay, and then so from Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and also Monday, because remember I ended up going 92 and a half hours in this full fast, because on Monday morning I had labs to do and I wanted to do them fasted. So I did that, and then and finally broke my fast Monday after about 3:30 in the afternoon on that Monday on the 16th. So by the time we get there, and I wake up the next day on the 17th on that Tuesday, and that's the date that you see here, the weight that I was at. All right, so from 219.6 down to 206.6. Do the math. Do the math. All right, do the math, guys. So that was already a lot of pounds lost at that point. All right, and so now even further. So I know it don't look like a lot within these 9 days from the 17th to the 26th. Actually, that would be 10 days, isn't it? Yeah, it would be. So anyway, from the 17th to the 26th, and looks like it's a total body weight loss of 200. Let's see, from 206 to 204. So you look like about almost that's about 1.8 pounds. Okay, so it don't look like a lot. It's almost 2 pound loss. But I want to show you something as we go over here. So my body fat percentage again dropped from 19.5 down to 16.3. That's still significant. So as you can see, I'm losing body fat, okay, like crazy, even more so than what it reflected on the scale, and we'll see why. So fat mass, okay, so this right here, the fat, so this is how many pounds of fat I actually had on me. First, it was 40.3 pounds of fat on the 17th. So that means I had more than that at the beginning of this thing. And then 40 pounds on the 20th. So I had lost that 0.3 3 days later. I lost that 0.3 pounds of fat 3 days later. And now, 6 days after that, I'm at 33. So I lost 7 pounds. Okay, so that's 7 pounds, basically from 40 to 33 pounds. 7 pounds. All right. So all in all, that's significant. So even though there's only about almost about a 1.8 pound loss on a scale weight, but my body fat weight, my fat weight was 7 pound loss. All right, you see that? Now we're going to see why. So why didn't that reflect that? So we're going to see why. So now let's look at the mass, and again, this is the muscle, the bones, and the organs. So I started out at 166.3 pounds of fat-free mass. Then I was at 166.6. Okay, so it went up 0.3. Now I'm at 171.5. Okay, so and guess what? My bones ain't growing. My organs are not growing. Okay. So that must be muscle growth. Must be muscle growth. Okay. That we're finding there. So it's sometimes when you're metabolically, when your body starts to get in shape, these devices can find muscle. So here it is. So I got a muscle gain. Okay. That's literally 5 pounds. Okay, from 166 to 171, that's 5 pounds. So now, and I'm not going to tell everybody that this is the way it's going to go for everybody. All right, but this is because of the work that I've been doing in the gym and everything. Okay, and so now we look at let's look at water weight. Okay, so 7 pounds here lost. Now we just found 5 of those pounds, okay, putting back. So now we got, for as far as water weight, at first my water was 121.4 pounds. Then water in my body was 121.6 pounds. Now it's 125.2 pounds. All right, so that's another 4 pound gain, almost a 4 pound gain here in water. Okay, so then so that's why the weight, it didn't it doesn't look like it moved too much in the scale weight, and that's because everything was shifting. So this is what the shift looks like. All right. So now then what these are here, these are just the millimeters of how, the thickness and fat, and those are going to fluctuate as well, as you can see. But I want you to look at this one right here. So in my waist, which is where I was really concerned with, was at 16.2 millimeters. Then it was at 15.7 millimeters. Now it's at 9.9. So most of my body fat loss is in my drop in body fat percentage is accounting for here. Okay, so this is where I'm making my biggest adjustment. And no, I'm not doing crunches and all that kind of stuff. That's not what I'm doing. It's just, this is how the body is shifting. It's seeing that that it needs to take energy because it's got more energy here than anywhere else. So it took it more so off my waist than it did off my thigh or my chest, as you can see. Okay, in fact, I gained a little bit. Looks like I gained 0.6 on my chest here. It found a little. This can also happen because as you have two types of fat. You got the white fat and then you got the yellow fat, or like what they call the brown fat. When it's the brown fat, that means it's ready to be metabolized. So it means it's liquefying. Okay, it's oxidizing basically. And so when it gets all nice and soft and gushy, and that means it's ready to be utilized for energy and moved out of the body. So sometimes it'll hold on to it, and then you'll see it slowly decrease as that happens. All right. So, but it had to come from somewhere because of my caloric deficit that I was in. So it pulled it from my waist more so than anywhere else. And I'm just doing a three site inspection on my body. If I did a 7 site, you probably can see even more. I'm just doing a 3 site. So just the chest, the thigh, and the waist is all I'm doing here. All right. So this is what I wanted to share with you guys as far as my results. And so, things are moving. And look, this wouldn't be happening if I wasn't dedicated, if I wasn't disciplined. It takes some discipline. All right. And even at this time, this is why I'm so happy that I started with that. I kicked that fast off, and I'm so happy that I built up to that full fast the way I did, because I'm not dealing with any cravings. I have my snack every day. I have a snack of popcorn. I'm going there and make me some popcorn. I eat a big tub of popcorn, and I have a very full but light breakfast. It's light in the way that it's not so dense in calories. Again, it's just egg whites. I have that every morning with some kale or spinach, and also some tofu for added protein. So what I'm looking to do at this point is to really dial in my diet. Okay, I'm looking to really dial it in, and what I mean by dial it in, let me get back over here. What I mean by really dial it in is I'm going to now map up my macronutrient ratios, and I'm going to go for the classic 40-40-20 split. 40% carbohydrates, 40% protein, and 20% fat. And I'll share with you guys in the coming videos of exactly how I'm gonna do that. Okay, I'll be sharing all of that with you. And the number that we're gonna need again in order to make that happen is going to be this BMR number. Okay, so I'm gonna have to take these numbers and whatever calories that I want to take in for the day, which right now I'm just gonna leave it at this or less, at the 2050 or less calories, and I'll divide them up into 20% fat, 40% protein, and 40% carbohydrates. So I'll be doing that, and then putting the foods that's gonna reflect that. Now you can go plus or minus 10% on those on the calories there, plus or minus 10%. But see, I'm way under that 575. As long as I'm playing around with this, that gives me a little bit of room when I'm working from the from the 2050 calories rather than the 2576. Because if you go anywhere over this 2576, you'll start gaining weight. So I'm going to work with this lowest number here, and that gives me a little bit of room. As long as I'm still under the 2576, I'll still be continue to lose fat weight. And I might so this is going to be at least the basics that I take in. I might anyway, I'll experience start with this, and then I'll see how that goes, and then I'll adjust as I need to. It takes at least about a month before you can make some adjustments, because you have to see how things are affecting you. Okay, and as you can see, all of the gains that I've made this month, just within those days from the 9th, from the 2nd of September till now, till today, in a month's time, I made some great. So I made all the right decisions to get me where I need to be, and I'm feeling good. My mind is clear. Haven't had no caffeine or anything. So I want y'all to understand that this is what it takes. You have to continue to assess yourself. You have to learn things about yourself. You got to experiment with yourself. Okay, so don't fall for those cravings and all that kind of stuff. That stuff is later, especially if you're a man like me who's over 50. And if you're approaching 50, it's even more important. Now, when it comes to my blood pressure, I've been maintaining good blood pressure. My diastolic has been under 90, so I'm in the 80s on that consistently. Now, what's fluctuating is the systolic, and I notice that the systolic goes up when I don't have a good night's sleep. My quality of sleep through the night is not so good. It happens because I'm actually waking up intermittently throughout the night, and when that happens, then my systolic blood pressure is going to be a little bit higher the next day. Okay, but then there were some nights when I got some great sleep, and when I did tested my blood pressure the next day, I was down in the upper 130s, lower 140s. But when I don't get that high quality sleep, I'm in the 150s. All right. So for me, I know sleep is going to be important. So I'm trying, again, still the ears in my ear, listening to binaural beats or some kind of white noise sound, so that I can continue to, just sleep all night and won't be disturbed by the sounds around me, because I am a light sleeper. All right. You need to make sure that you get sleep, enough sleep. Don't listen to these people telling you that you don't need that much sleep. You do need that much sleep. Now, some people can get away, or at least they think they're getting away, with doing 4 hours of sleep a night, 6 hours here. I can guarantee you that that's not going to be good. Here's why. We know that throughout the day, with the use of our brains, all the thinking and the decision making and stuff like that, there is a protein that builds up called beta amyloid. Look that up, beta amyloid. I'm going to put it up here somewhere. And that is called the Alzheimer's protein. It's it's very toxic, but it's a byproduct of brain use. Now, the thing about it is that the body gets rid of it through the cerebral spinal fluid, that surrounds the brain. It gets rid of it. It can detox or expel it from there when your body's getting enough sleep. And enough sleep is this: you have to at least be 3 hours into deep sleep. So that's what we call quality sleep, uninterrupted deep sleep for 3 hours, minimum, for that to happen. Okay, minimum. All right. So, and everybody, if you ever did a sleep study, that you'll find that you wake up, not even realizing it, but you wake up. A lot of time you come out of that deep sleep, you go into these different brain states throughout the night. And the main thing is to try your best to stay in that theta to delta brainwave state, so that the body can rid itself of this toxic protein like it's supposed to. But it's not just doing that, but it's also repairing a lot of things, because now the body's at rest, and now the body can actually spend more energy focusing on these things that need to be put back into place. It's kind of like if you've been using your house all day before you go to bed, or when you before you shut down for the night, you want to put everything back because you done moved around and put things out of place. So the things that are out of place in the body tries to repair it and gets rid of it, creates antibodies and everything else at that time as well, to deal with things that might be more dormant or even stuck, that it has probably put to the side and get to it later. Yes, the body does that. Okay, it puts things to the side. It can trap it in mucus. It can trap it in adipose tissue. And then what it'll do, it'll come back later and then get rid of those things. Bind them up and get rid of it. Okay, so you do need a good amount of sleep. Typically, between 7 and 9 hours of sleep is what you need. So anyway, make sure that that's what you're getting. And I just want to, before I leave, I want to say to all of my, fellas that are 50 and up, if you're approaching 50, and particularly my black men, you want to make sure, go to the doctor and get yourself checked out. Get to know the things about yourself that you can't know, because hypertension, they call it the silent killer for a reason. You don't feel it. You don't know. So get that tested. Have a sphygmomanometer, which is the name of the blood pressure machine. So have that. Have one of those, at least a little electronic one, in your house, and check that and make sure that this is not something that you're dealing with. And if it is, then make these adjustments just like I'm doing. I'm trying to show you that even an expert, a professional, we're not exempt from making these changes. We're not exempt from paying attention to ourselves. We're not exempt from that. And because when we don't pay attention, when we don't take action, we suffer the same consequences as those who didn't even know as much as we know. And there's no sense of having this knowledge if you're not going to put it to use on yourself, right? So again, I'm Coach D, and hit me with some comments. Tell me what you think about the video, and like and subscribe, because this is on my YouTube channel. So please like and subscribe. And I got more of this coming up. I'll be sharing more of my journey with you, and as well as my podcast will be. I'm ready to roll that out as well. So you guys will get to see that, because I'm a spiritual teacher, right? So I got more of those things coming. So stay tuned. And again, thank all of you for taking the time to watch this video. And I'm sorry it was so long. I'm sorry. But when I get to talking, I talk. All right. Bless you, Uncle Ja. So, in my traditional greeting or goodbyes, and we will see you soon. Het tepu, everyone.